Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Dave from mygunvalues.com, and in our how to basically use it video for the first time on our Wheeler scope mounting kit, I told you we were going to be mounting a new scope on the Weatherby Ultralight rifle. So what we've got here, if you haven't seen the video, you can go back and watch it. We've got a Weatherby Ultralight Mark V chambered in 240 Weatherby Magnum. You could use this gun for varmint shooting, you know, deer, pronghorn antelope, those type of things is where this gun would tend to excel. I'm not a fan of the 6mm for anything, you know, the size of elk or bear, but I know people who've done it. So what we're going to do here, if you remember right on this rifle, when we reviewed it, somebody has already lapped in the scope rings. So I don't think we really need to do that again. And the scope bases were already on the rifle. Now I've already checked. These are square, but I'm going to go through the steps with you, show you how you do it, and then we'll go from there. In case you're wondering, this is a new Nikon Buckmaster's rifle scope, 3-9 by 40mm. Nothing fancy. This gun's got the range. Some people might want to use a 4-12 scope. I just prefer 3-9s. They're usually not terribly expensive, and I think if I remember right, this scope was somewhere in the neighborhood of $125, $135. So it's certainly not a super expensive scope by any stretch of the imagination, but we'll see how well it works when we shoot the square with it. But we want, in order for it to give the gun a proper chance to shoot well, we got to mount this thing properly. So the first thing you want to do, if you use this scope mounting kit, there are a set of 1-inch bars with these points on them here. Some guys, and I know some guys will do this and put a small level across them. The book says to aim those points at each other. And I'm not going to cinch these down super tight, but I am going to just go ahead and put this on. What you're after here is you're trying to make sure that your front scope ring and your back your back scope ring are in alignment, so you don't kink or scratch or dent your scope tube when you're putting it on. Okay, when you put those on, those 2 points should be aimed right at each other. And I had to put the specs on. You know, they're actually a little bit off. When I put them on last time, they were fine. This time, they're just a little bit off. So we are going to have to do some lapping. So anyway, I'm going to take a stack off. If you look at the bottom of the scope ring here, you'll see where the finish has been scraped away. See if we can get this in the camera. There we go. It's been lapped before, but it's not in perfect alignment. So we're gonna make sure this thing's right. Give this thing every chance to shoot accurately. And while I'm taking it apart, let me discuss shooting the square. I know a lot of you know what that is. Some of you may call it something else. But what shooting the square is a way to make sure that your scope tracks accurately when you adjust it. So what you would, once we sight this rifle in, then we're going to what's the word I'm looking for here? We want to make sure that when you adjust those turrets that it goes up and down and sideways and it moves properly. So when I shoot the square, what I do is get it shooting on target, shoot 3 shots at the bullseye. You can do 5-shot groups if you want, or 10-shot groups, but 240 Weatherby Magnum ammunition isn't cheap even if you hand load it. So we're going to sight the rifle in, we're going to shoot 3 shots on the bullseye, we're going to go up 4 inches and shoot 3, to the right 4 inches and shoot 3, down 4 inches and shoot 3, down 4 more inches and shoot 3, left 4 inches and shoot 3, and then back up to the bullseye, which is up 4 inches, and shoot 3. And if the scope tracks right, we do our jobs right, the second 3-shot group should be really close to where the first 3-shot group is. So anyway, the kit comes with some 220 grit lapping compound. If you've ever done valves, for those of you who are mechanically inclined, this is, think lapping valves in, same idea. I also don't think it's necessary to put all 4 screws back in for the lapping operation. Okay, we gotta loosen them up just a little bit. A little tight here. And what you're doing is you're just using, that's a grinding paste you put in there. These had already been lapped in, so I can't imagine they're gonna need a lot more. Something else I should mention is if once you do this, make sure that the back ring stays on the back and the front ring stays on the front. There's also a metal cutting tool that I own that one of these days will break out. And it, rather than lapping it in with lapping paste, it actually cuts the rings. Think of a flute on a mill. Yeah, that removed a lot more of the old finish, which is fine. Doesn't hurt to remove. Finish, because you're trying to get the material out of there to get this thing straight and level. Now let's put our scope bars back on here. Nope, got some lapping compound in there, didn't get it all out. Hold on a minute. You notice I'm putting the screws in kind of like you tighten down the lug nuts on a tire, crossways. Okay, they're lined up, they match each other, they're pointed right at each other. So that's how you prep them. Now something that some people are going to tell you, and this is one I'm going to leave up to personal preference. Some people tell you to put Loctite on the screws when you tighten them down. I despise Loctite in all its forms on anything that may ever have to come back apart again. If you've got something that will never, ever, ever have to come back apart again, and you're sure about that, by all means use Loctite. If you think it may have to come apart again someday, don't use it. I mean, yeah, they have soft set Loctite. I don't care. When that stuff's been in there 10 years, 15 years, it doesn't come out. Like I said, if you ever think you're gonna have to take it off again, I mean, rifle scopes break. We may put this scope on here, and this scope may be the biggest hunk of junk that ever lived. I doubt it. Nikon's a good name, but it could be a horrible scope. It could be broken brand new, and then you got to take it apart after that Loctite's set. No thanks. So anyway, so I'm going to call it a wrap right there. We've lapped in the rings, and now we're ready to mount the scope, but we'll do that in our next video. So, you know, like I always end them, folks, if you have anything you'd like to see, you have anything you want us to do, a firearm you'd like us to review, pricing, whatever, you can contact us here through YouTube, or you can log on to mygunvalues.com and take a look there. Thanks for watching.